All right, this video is going to go over Module 2 Homework 2 notes, and it's going to be talking about graphing linear equations. So we identified linear equations, now we're going to graph them. There are 3 different methods that we're going to talk about for graphing linear equations. On MyLab Math, it's super important that you follow the directions on the way it wants you to, because it's really finicky if you don't follow the directions and you get the right equation, but you didn't use the right method, it will mark it wrong. So be very careful with that. So our first method is to create a table of values, just like we did on the previous Module 2 Homework 1. And then in this section, we're going to talk about our last 2 methods of plotting intercepts and using the slope-intercept form. Again, you must use the method that MyLab Math asked you to. So first of all, graphing using intercepts. This is x and y intercepts. The x-intercept is where the graph crosses the x-axis, and the y-intercept is where the graph crosses the y-axis. So if we had a graph, here's our x-axis, here our y-axis. If it was to cross, let's say we have something like this. If it was to cross our x-axis, so right here would be our x-intercept. It crosses our x-axis. So looking at that point, I notice that y value is 0, meaning I'm not going up or down any. So that's super important. That's what we're going to use. For the x-intercept, our y value is 0. This point right here is where it crosses the y-axis. This is our y-intercept. And then notice for this point, that x value is 0. We're not going left or right any. So for the y-intercept, our x value is 0. That's what we're going to use to plot our intercepts. So graph the equation 4x minus 8y equals 8. Is the equation linear, first of all? So looking at this, x is to the first power, y is to the first power, nothing else is happening to them. So yes, this is linear. So we know it's going to be a straight line whenever we graph it. And now graphing using intercepts. So we know for the x-intercept, our y value is 0. So if y is 0, we know this is going to be our x-intercept. For our x-axis, for our y-intercept, we know our x value is 0. So this is going to be our y-intercept. So now that we have this information, we can plug it in to find those 2 points. So starting off with the x-intercept, let's go down here so we have enough room. So starting off with the x-intercept, we know our y value equals 0. Our equation was 4x minus 8y equals 8. So plugging in 0 for y, so 4x minus 8 times 0 equals 8. So 4x, negative 8 times 0 is 0. 4x minus 0, 0 just goes away. It's just 4x equals 8. Getting x by itself, now it's 4 times x. So in order to move it to the other side of the equation, we need to do the opposite. The opposite of 4 times is being divided by 4. That way 4 divided by 4 goes to 1 and it cancels out. We're left with x equals 8 divided by 4, which is 2. So that means the x-intercept has the ordered pair 2, 0. We're going to do the same thing for the y-intercept now. For the y-intercept, we know that our x value is 0. So taking our equation 4x minus 8y equals 8, we're going to plug in 0 for x, so 4 times 0 minus 8y equals 8. 4 times 0 is just 0, minus 8y equals 8. 0 minus 8y, the 0 goes away, it's just negative 8y equals 8. Now getting y by itself, it's negative 8 times y. So in order to get rid of that negative 8, we need to do the opposite. We're going to divide both sides by negative 8. That way negative 8 divided by negative 8 goes to 1 and it cancels out. We're left with y equals 8 divided by negative 8, which is negative 1. So our y value there is negative 1. So our y-intercept is going to be the ordered pair, 0, negative 1. So plotting these 2 points and connecting the dots. So 2, 0 going over 2 in the positive direction, up 0. And then our next, this is our x-intercept. Our next point is going over 0, down -1. This is our y-intercept. So we have 2 points now. So just connecting the dots and making a straight line, as straight as possible. There is our line. While I'm thinking about it, there is a video in Blackboard under Module 2 that shows you how to graph on MyLab Math. So kind of helps you out with that. So that's it for that example. So that's it for solving or graphing using intercepts. So our last thing was graphing using the slope-intercept form. So by definition, the measure of the tilt of a line is called the slope. It's called the slope. I'm sure a lot of us have seen or heard of slope before. If not, I'm going to pretend like we haven't seen or heard of it before so that we were all starting off on the same level. So slope, we abbreviate it as the letter M so that we don't have to write the word slope every time. We can just write M and abbreviate it. Is rise over run. That word rise means going up and down. Up and down is our Y values. So it's our change in Y values. That word change in means subtraction, so we are subtracting our y values, so y2 minus y1. Likewise, same thing. Our run is going left and right. We're going to run forward and backwards, so that's our change in x value. Again, that word change in means subtract our x values. So these are formulas that you will need to know for the test if you don't already know them. We are going to use different formulas. They're both all for slope, but we're going to use different formulas for different circumstances. So make sure that you do know those. Slope is just the tilt of a line. So it's just a number. So that number could be positive, it could be negative, it could be 0, or it could be undefined. Those are our 4 options. For a positive slope, we're going to read our graph from left to right, just like we read English from left to right. So looking at a graph from left to right, this graph goes upward. So going upward means it has a positive slope. Going from left to right, our next graph goes downward. That means it has a negative tilt, a negative slope. Our last one is horizontal. So going from left to right, it does not go up or down any. It's just going to stay steady and flat. And the last one is going to be an undefined slope, which is a vertical line. So those are our 4 options. So positive slope, positive number, pretty easy. Negative slope, negative number, pretty easy. So slope of 0. Instead of memorizing this, let's think about it. If our slope, of our M value, is rise over run, how much is this graph rising? How much is it going up and down? It's not. It's staying flat. So our rise is 0. Over how much is it going left and right? Well, there's arrows, so it's showing that it's going left and right forever. So infinity. What is 0 divided by infinity, or 0 divided by any number? 0. So that's what's telling us that our slope is 0. Another little hint that kind of helps me. For 0 has, the horizontal has 2 O's in it. And those O's are like 0, where vertical and undefined do not have O's, do not have zeros in them. So let's do the same thing for the vertical line. Our slope, we know, is rise over run. How much is this graph rising, going up and down? Well, the arrows show it's going up and down forever, so infinity. Over how much is it running, going left and right? It's not going left or right any, over 0. What is infinity, or any number divided by 0? Well, if we plug it into our calculator, we get error, which means it's undefined. So those are our 4 options for slope. So now let's use slope. So it says graph a line with the slope of 1/2 and a y-intercept at -1. So we need to start somewhere. This y-intercept at -1 is going to be our starting point. Remember, for a y-intercept, we said that our x value is 0. So this ordered pair we know is going to be 0, -1. So let's start there. So over 0, down -1. So starting there. From there, we need to find the next point, another point based off of our slope. So our slope, which is our m value, is 1/2. So it's telling us our rise is +1. So that means we're going to go up 1 over our run, which is positive. That means we're going left and right. Because it's positive, that means we're going to go to the right 2. So from this starting point, 0, -1, we're going to go up 1, and we're going to go right 2. So there's our next point. Oh, that's not going to work. So we're going to go up 1, and we're going to go right 2. Let me rewrite this. All right, so now we have 2 points where we can connect the dots. I'm not very good at drawing a straight line, obviously. And that's it. That's our line. Let's try another one. Or this would be a great time for you to pause the video and for you to try one on your own. We just did one together, so pause the video and then try this one on your own and we'll come back to it. All right, so graph a line with a slope of -3/4 and a y-intercept at 2. So again, this y-intercept is going to be our starting point. Remember, our x value is 0, so it's going to be the starting point over 0 up 2. So over 0 up 2. That's our starting point. And then we need to find the next point based off of our slope, which is -3/4. Remember, our very first module 1 homework 1, we said that a negative fraction could be outside, it could be a negative up top, or it could be a negative on the bottom. This negative is outside. I want to put it to the top just so that way I don't lose it. So -3 over +4. That will help me because when I'm talking about rise over run, when I'm talking about rise over run, that means I'm rising -3. I'm rising -3. So because it's rising a negative, rise means up and down, that means I'm going to go down 3. I'm running +4. The positive direction is to the right. So from my starting point, I'm going to go down 3, right 4. So down 3, 1, 2, 3, over 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom, there's my dot. So again, I'm going to go down 3, and I'm going to go over right 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. Those are my 2 points connecting the dots, and we're good to go. All right. So find the slope between the 2 points, 5, 8, and -6, 7. So going back to our slope formulas, this time I want to plug in 2 points. So I want to use this y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1 formula for this situation. So, oops. I just erased all of that, didn't I? Going back to where we were at. Okay. Let me just rewrite this here. Rise over run. Right. Right, up 1, right 2, okay. Here we go. All right, so going back, so our slope formula, which we label as M, is y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. They give us 2 points, so I'm going to label the first point as x1, y1, and I'm labeled the second point as x2, y2. It doesn't matter which one's the first point, which one's the second point, as long as the ones and ones are together and twos are together. So now plugging in our values, y2 we said was 7. 7 minus y1 we said is 8. All over x2 we said was negative 6 minus x1, which we said was 5. So we have it set up now, just simplifying. 7 minus 8 will give us negative 1, all over negative 6 minus 5 will give us negative 11. Simplifying negative 1 over negative 11, our negatives will cancel each other out. And we're just left with positive 1 over 11. There's nothing else in common to simplify. Boom, we're done with that one. All right, so now moving into our slope-intercept form. So slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. Again, this is super important, and this is something that you will need to know for the test. So it asks us, what is the slope and the y-intercept of f of x equals 9x minus 2? Now, f of x is the same thing as writing y. So it's the same thing as saying y equals 9x minus 2, which this is in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. This I can see, so instead of m, they wrote 9. So our slope, which is our m value, is 9. So notice it's just 9. It's not 9 over 1. It's not 9x, just 9. And our y-intercept, remember our y-intercept is the starting point. So we need to label it as a point. Remember, for our y-intercept, our x value equals 0. So it's always going to be 0, comma b. So in this case, our b value is negative 2. So our starting point, our y-intercept, is the ordered pair 0, comma negative 2. In my lab math, you will have to write it as an ordered pair like that, so be careful. All right, next example, it asks us to find the slope and the y-intercept of 2x minus 2y equals 20. Looking at this, it says not in slope-intercept form of y equals mx plus b, so I don't know what m and b are, but we can put this in slope-intercept form to find our slope and our y-intercept. I want to put it into y equals mx plus b form, so I want to get y by itself. So to do that, I want to move this 2x over to the other side of the equation. I want to do the opposite. It's positive 2x. So we're going to do the opposite. We are going to subtract 2x from both sides. So that way 2x minus 2x goes to 0 and cancels out. We're left with negative 2y equals negative 2x plus 20. So now getting y by itself, it's negative 2 times y. So to move that negative 2 to the other side, we want to do the opposite. So we want to divide both sides by negative 2. Notice I'm dividing the left whole side by negative 2, so the right whole side. Both terms get divided by negative 2. So that way negative 2 divided by negative 2 goes to 1 and cancels each other out. We're left with y equals negative 2x divided by negative 2. Plus 20 divided by negative 2. So we can simplify this into y equals negative 2 divided by negative 2 goes to 1, so just 1x, or just x. And then 20 divided by negative 2, which is negative 10. This is now in slope-intercept form for us of y equals mx plus b. So we can see that our m value, our slope, is just positive 1. Our b value is negative 10, so our y-intercept is the point 0, comma b, so it's the point 0, comma negative 10. Last two examples. Graphing, use slope-intercept form to graph 3x plus y equals negative 2. Looking at this, I don't know the slope, I don't know the y-intercept, so I need to put this in slope-intercept form in order to find those two things so I can graph it. So 3x plus y equals negative 2. I want to get y by itself. So I'm going to move that 3x over. So I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. That way 3x minus 3x goes to 0 and cancels out. we're left with y equals negative 3x minus 2. Notice I put that negative 3x first because I want it to be y equals mx plus b form. Now we can easily see, okay, our m value is negative 3, our b value is negative 2. So our slope is negative 3. Remember, slope is rise over run. So I want to put it negative 3 over something. When there's no denominator, it's always 1. Negative 3 divided by 1 is still negative 3. So that's telling us our rise is negative 3. Because it's negative, we're going to go down 3. Our run is positive 1. So because it's positive, we're going to the right 1. And our y-intercept, which is always 0, comma b, is going to be 0, comma, negative 2. And then remember, this is our starting point. So over 0, down negative 2 is our first point. And then from here, we're going to rise negative 3, so go down 3. And then run positive 1, so go over 1. And then connecting the dots. That's not too hot. Okay, there we go. Connecting, that's still not much better, but you get the point. Connecting the dots, there's our line. Last example, it says to graph x equals negative 6. By the way, I want to put this in y equals mx plus b form. There is no y to put this in y equals form. So it's just x equals negative 6. This is what is still called standard form. Standard form is x and y on one side and our numbers on the other. So ax plus by equals c. So notice our variables are on the left and then just the numbers on the right. That's what we have here. So it's saying no matter what, let's go back to our table of values, no matter what, our x value is negative 6. So let's say negative 6, let's plug in 0 for y. Negative 6, let's plug in 1 for y. No matter what, our x value is always negative 6. So now we can plot these 2 points, negative 6, 0 and negative 6, 1, connect the dots and we'll have our line. So going over negative 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Going up 0. And then going up 1, we're still at negative 6. Connecting the dots, we have this vertical line. So we have a vertical line. So remember, what was our slope of vertical lines? So slope is rise over run. What is our rise here? Well, by these arrows, we know it's going up and down forever. So our rise is infinity over our run going left and right. It's not going left and right any, so 0. What is 0 divided by infinity, or 0 divided by any number, will give us an error. So that's telling us our slope is undefined. So what is the slope of the line? It is undefined. That's kind of like a special case. If it was y equals negative 6, it would be a horizontal line going through negative 6. So something like this down here. But that was Module 2, Homework 2 notes. As always, if you have any questions, please email me or our peer tutor. We'd be happy to help. Thank you.